you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
All right. Welcome back to the bright side. I want to say a few more things about the healing process, the generic nature of the healing process, the idea that all chronic illnesses are the result of inflammation and immunity, generic kinds of things, generic biochemistry. I want to say a few more things about that, and then we'll get into some supplements and continue talking about our youth and fertility hormones. But the main point I want to make here is that the body has a generic way that it heals, and it has a generic way that it breaks down. All breakdown, all disease is the result of long-term activation of the defensive response. That is the most powerful idea that I can tell you about when it comes to healing. All our health challenges are the result of long-term activation of the body's survival nervous system, which tells you something very important. Aside from the fact that it means that we have some control over this, what it says is that our diseases, dis-ease, out of ease, our dis-eases, are in essence a protective response, a defensive response. The body is freaked out. The body's trying to survive, which tells you that to reverse this condition, to reverse disease, the first step is going to be to calm things down, to have the defensive nervous system stand down, to activate the relaxation nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system. And even if we're not overly degenerated, even if we don't have like a diagnosis of some kind, even if we don't have a diagnosis of a disease, even if we're relatively healthy compared to our friends and our family, we're still running on survival energy. The vast majority of us are running on sympathetic nervous system energy, even if we're not sick. Cortisol energy, sugar energy, coffee energy, Mountain Dew energy, caffeine energy. We're running on this type of energy just to get through our day. Caffeine mimics the stress nervous system, or the neurochemistry of the stress nervous system. Sugar does much the same. Even if we're not obviously ill, but we're drinking 3 or 4 or 5 cups of coffee a day, we're burning out. And it's only a matter of time before we do begin to break down. This type of sympathetic energy, sympathetic adrenal gland energy, cannot help but accelerate the aging and disease process, even if we're healthy. We're heading in the aging and disease direction. We're heading in the breakdown direction, in the catabolic direction, the wrong direction. But the good news is we can reverse this. Just like we break down when we run on sympathetic energy, when we run on survival energy, whether it's caffeine-based or because we're sick, or if it's emotional stresses, the good news is that we can reverse that. Cortisol energy, stress energy, sympathetic energy, they're going to age us and they're going to lead to disease. But on the other hand, we can slow this thing down. We can slow down aging. We can increase longevity. We can reverse disease. Yes, we can reverse chronic degenerative disease. Chronic degenerative disease is reversible. It's preventable by calming things down, by relaxing, by deep breathing, and all the other strategies we talk about on the bright side. We can use all of these things to ignite the parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation nervous system. And all of this is to say that a lot of our illness is the result of non-physical causes. We activate our survival nervous system not only for physical reasons, but for mental and emotional reasons. In fact, I would say the vast majority of our illnesses have at least a component, a strictly mental and emotional component. Of course, foods and sugar and nutritional deficiencies and hypoxia or lack of oxygen are all very important. But even when it comes to food, which is maybe the most significant physiologic way that we age ourselves, eating and sugar, food behavior, but even our drives to eat and ingest sugar are rooted in emotional and mental causes. From a purely physical perspective, we don't need a lot of food, and we need very little sugar. So most of our eating behavior is driven for mental and emotional reasons. It's driven from mental and emotional causes. And because most of our suffering comes from eating, physical suffering comes from food, most of our suffering is driven physiologically as well as psychically from mental and emotional causes. We've created this world of comfort. This is so ironic. We've created this world of comfort that has resulted in mental and emotional suffering. Yes, it's true that we have lots of creature comforts in our culture, but for some reason, all of these creature comforts have resulted in mental and emotional suffering. There's a really cool book called Your Survival Instinct is Killing You by a guy named Mark Schoen. He's a professor at the UCLA School of Medicine. Super cool book, really easy to read, and it explains a lot of what we talk about on this program, by the way. Your Survival Instinct is Killing You. So Professor Schoen is from the UCLA School of Medicine. He describes something called the cozy paradox. And this is the idea that we're not comfortable in a world that is, as he says, increasingly designed for comfort. The cozy paradox is what Professor Schoen has labeled this thing. It's based on our discomfort being caused by an expectation of coziness. We don't like being disturbed. We like to know what's coming. We don't like surprises. We like control. Suffering, according to Dr. Schoen, has a component of the sense of being out of control. But on the other hand, it's also hardwired into us to be this way. It's hardwired into our brain. We are the descendants of ancestors who survived the African savannah and all the angst of being eaten by a tiger or a lion or starvation. We survived by being able to turn on, by being able to activate our neurology. We figured out how to address lack of control by kicking in with stress hormones, which allowed us to run or allowed us to forage for food. We developed this neurological survival instinct that turned on our brain chemistry to get us out of life or death situations. But the problem is, because we've got this incredibly well-developed prefrontal cortex, intellect, and an ability to imagine and predict, we make things up. And it's even worse because we've created a culture that needs us to make things up, to be freaked out, to be in survival mode, to activate our disease-inducing sympathetic nervous system. All right, we'll finish up when we come back from our break. So, there's so many great non-medical ways, even non-nutritional ways, really, to deal with the dis-ease process, the lack of ease. That's what dis-ease is. It's a lack of ease, or a dysfunctional type of ease. Dr. Schoen calls it Dr. Mark Schoen, from writing the book, Your Survival Instinct is Killing You, he calls it the cozy paradox. We've created a culture of ease, and we're filled with dis-ease. And even worse, we've got this corporate political system that derives its power by keeping us in fear mode. It wants us scared. If you feel scared after you hear the news or listen to a radio show or read the newspaper or an article or an internet post or whatever, if you feel scared, you haven't done yourself any good, especially if you're sick. Turn off crap that makes you feel scared, that puts you into fear mode. It doesn't do you any good. Why do we need to know that a bridge crashed in Malaysia somewhere, or that there's some case of food poisoning in some city halfway across the country? I mean, I'm not saying that's a good thing, but do we need to know all that stuff? What's the purpose of keeping us in this mode of the world is falling apart? The system needs us to feel this way. It's a parasite. It lives by sucking our energy. It derives its life force by stealing ours. It needs us to be scared. It's a virus. It could care less about us as individuals, just like a virus could care less about you as an individual. This is a mental virus, an emotional virus, a meme, a mind virus that's designed to keep us in sympathetic overdrive, and then purports to heal us by going to the doctor. How they create the dis-ease and they sell us the cure. It's a scam of biblical proportions, folks. But the good news is, the bright side is, we can hack into our survival chemistry. Just listening to this program, if you take it seriously and take these ideas seriously, you've begun to hack into your chemistry, hacking into your brain neurology. Just like we can activate the sympathetic survival system with our imagination, as well as our lifestyle choices and the foods we eat, and the exercise we do and the supplements we take, we can likewise trick or hack into the brain. We can hack into the parasympathetic nervous system, and we can tell the brain everything's all right in the world. There's lots of ways to do that. That's really what this is about. That's everything we've been talking about now for the last, probably since I started doing this program. It's about hacking into the parasympathetic nervous system, telling it everything's okay. That's how nutrition works. Nutrition tells the body and the brain that everything's okay, that it can expend its resources on building because there's plenty of raw materials. That's why supplements are so important. They tell the body, the brain, via the blood, that there's plenty of nutrition. Everything's good. It's all right. We're hacking into our biology with our nutrition, or we can hack into our biology with our brain and with our mind. Self-hypnosis, massage, lightly touching your hand. We talked about all these on Friday. Yawning, muscle relaxation. All of these are ways to tell the brain everything is okay. There are ways that we can hack into the parasympathetic nervous system. We can use the mind to counteract the mind. That's called mindfulness, by the way. And it's being recognized more and more by medical professionals that it's serious stuff. It's not just something airy-fairy. It's been in Eastern religions for millennia, mystical Christianity, guys like Meister Eckhart, Ignatius Loyola, Teresa of Avila, they all talked about meditation. There's mystical Judaism, there's mystical Islam, Sufism. And these days, these same ideas, meditation, mindfulness, relaxation, are being applied by mainstream Western medicine to lower your blood pressure, to boost your immune system. They call it psychoneuroimmunology. Fancy name that says using your psyche to control your immune system. They're using it for ADHD, for kids who have attention deficit disorder, and adults who have attention deficit disorder, to reduce anxiety and depression, to create a sense of well-being, less emotional reactivity, to physiologically thicken the brain. Yes, relaxation techniques, mindfulness, meditation thickens the brain, but not just any part of the brain. It thickens the part of the brain that's responsible for making good decisions, the prefrontal cortex. And it thickens and strengthens the limbic system, which is the part of the brain that's responsible for emotional flexibility and for empathy and for sympathy and for compassion. Self-compassion as well as compassion for others. There's a UCLA department at the UCLA School of Medicine that's a mindfulness department. It's the Mindfulness Awareness Research Center, the MARC, M-A-R-C. And this is where patients and their doctors explore these hippy-dippy ideas, these non-scientific techniques for health. And they teach nurses and doctors and other medical professionals and the general public. Harvard has a Center for Mindfulness. There's a mindfulness course of curricula at Yale University School or Yale School of Medicine. Johns Hopkins has courses in mindfulness and meditation and yoga. Yoga is another great discipline that focuses on mental and emotional conditioning. From the Journal of Neuroscience, mindfulness meditation provides opioid-free pain relief. How do you like that? Cognitive, they did a study on, how many people here? I can't see how many people, but apparently pain ratings were reduced by 21% in the meditation group that received a placebo. Mindfulness meditation eases chronic lower back pain. That's from the Journal of the American Medical Association. Mindful eating meditation may lead to better metabolic health. That's from the journal Obesity. This is serious business, you guys. I mean, I know this is a nutrition show, but not really. It's kind of a health show, but we focus a lot on nutrition. But if we're going to be serious about health, these are all strategies that we can employ. And this is not just, some kind of cheesy New Age baloney. This is science. Mindfulness meditation, mindfulness approaches, mindful eating. You can reduce pain. You can lose weight. You can improve cognitive function. And then, of course, there's nutritional supplements. Wonderful nutritional supplements. Magnesium, niacin, lithium. Lithium orotate, 5 milligrams a day if you're trying to relax. Doc Wallach's been talking about lithium for years. There's lithium in the plant-derived minerals. Lithium is actually a prescription drug for bipolar disorder. The same lithium that you get at the health food store, the same lithium that you get in your Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients, is used as a prescription drug. Likewise, GABA. GABA is really interesting. GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid, comes from something called butyric acid, which is made by your gut. Made in the gut. Yes, GABA is made by bacteria in the gut, made in the brain. And you can get it as a supplement. There's actually drugs that mimic GABA. Hang on, we'll finish up when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away. Okay, so tomorrow we'll talk about some of these nutritional strategies as well as hormonal strategies for relaxing the body. There's lots of wonderful nutrients that can do it. GABA is one of my all-time favorites. And there's actually a couple of prescription drugs that work with the GABA system. You see advertised on TV for fibromyalgia or for chronic pain or for emotional disorders. These GABAergic type drugs, these GABA imitating drugs, supposedly work with this neurotransmitter in the brain, but you can make your own GABA. You can take GABA as a supplement, but you can make your own GABA using all of these relaxation strategies that we talk about on this program. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. Time to hit the phones, 844-236-6010. Let's go to Mariah in Memphis. Welcome to The Bright Side. Good morning, Mariah. What's up?
Oh, it's Mariah. Let's see. I have rapidly thinning skin, and I was wondering, is there anything that I could take or do for thinning skin? Something that could thicken it, plump it?
Yes, absolutely.
Increase collagen, anything.
All of it, yes. Here's the thing about the skin. When you see the skin thinning, you can rest assured that the rest of your body is thinning as well. Skin is made up of two layers. Now, it's more than two layers, but for our purposes here, we'll say the skin is made of two layers. It's got a layer that's a surface, that's kind of a thin layer, and then 90% of it is underneath. And that's made up of connective tissue. So you got a connective tissue that's sort of like steak, you could think of, like beef, and then you got a coating on top of it. When you say thinning skin, what most people mean is the beef is thinning, not the surface. You follow me? It's the stuff underneath. That stuff underneath is called connective tissue. That's the collagen. So they're not exactly synonymous, but most of the connective tissue is collagen. So we'll just say, we'll just use them as synonyms. Your collagen is thinning, basically. And this is what causes crepey skin. This is what causes the little turkey neck thing that people get sometimes. This is what causes loose, saggy skin on the face, thinning skin as you describe it. It's what causes wrinkles. Pretty much all the cosmetic and superficial and visual signs of aging in the skin are the reflection of a breakdown, a thinning of the connective tissue. So far, so good?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when we're healthy, the connective tissue is building faster than it's breaking down. We're always building and breaking down. But when we're young, our connective tissue is building faster than it's breaking down. When we're older, the reverse is happening. Now, there's several reasons for that. One is toxicity. That's probably the most important reason. Toxicity builds up. The second very important reason is long-term activation of the stress response that we've been talking about. So even though I've been talking about the stress response as regards internal biochemistry, you're not going to build when you're in long-term stress activation. So relaxing the body is one of the best anti-wrinkle strategies you could use. A hot tub is way better than a wrinkle cream. Massage, everything we talked about. I'm not going to repeat everything, but the idea of relaxing the body, that's the first thing. I know you called to get some supplements, but it's important that we say this, that we address this, because there's so many people saying, take this pill and this formula and that formula and this cream and that cream, and they're not telling you the whole story. So we think it's all a matter of a cream. I saw this nasty commercial, and I don't like calling people out on commercials, but this one was nasty, for a product called Crepe Erase. Have you seen this? Where they
it sounds
it's
familiar,
evil.
Yeah.
It's evil to lie like this. And if you listen to them, they don't outright lie to you. They use what we call weasel words in the business. Weasel words are words where they don't tell you exactly what's happening, but they just say, oh, you're going to feel so good. You're going to be so happy. They don't tell you what's happening, and they don't tell you the ingredients. And it's got movie stars in there, like Jane Seymour, who are hawking this stuff.
Yeah, I have seen
It's so mean. It's so mean. Oh, my God. This is why I do this program, to try to counteract some of this satanic evilness. As this is the parasite that I'm telling you about. And she's beautiful, Jane Seymour, but she's operating like a parasite. Okay, anyway, I don't mean to get angry here. So here's what you need to do. So you relax the body, that's the first thing. Now, as far as and you got to eliminate sugar or reduce sugar intake, any food stressors. Then you want to start to build things, and there's many ways to do it. Protein for one. The tissue is itself made of protein. So you need to be eating more accessible protein and more building protein. If you're not a meat eater,
how much a day do I need?
Half a gram to a gram per pound of body weight is a good starting point. If you're a bodybuilder, you're doing 2 or 3 times that amount. But for most of us, half a gram to a gram per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you're looking at 75 to 150 grams of protein. A scoop of protein is about 30 grams or so, a little less probably. So 3 scoops of protein. But you can read it on the package, or an egg is about 8 grams of protein. A piece of chicken is about 20 grams of protein, 25 grams of protein. You can put it together yourself. Then you got to make sure that you're using vitamin C. You can't build connective tissue without vitamin C. In fact, the combination of vitamin C and protein, especially the kind of protein that you find in bones and bone soup, is very, very helpful for building connective tissue. So chicken soup, vitamin C, real chicken soup, of course, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, which contains lots of vitamin C, glucosamine, the glucogel caps, gelatin. These are all wonderful strategies for building connective tissue. There are minerals that are important. One of the all-time great minerals for building connective tissue is silica, which you have to get as liquid silica gel. Can't really, it's found in seeds and nuts and vegetables, but you really, to make sure you're getting enough silica, you got to supplement with it, in my opinion. You can notice some really neat things for your nails, by the way, when you start to supplement with silica. The B vitamins are important for everything, just for energy, and all of this requires energy, so making sure you're getting a generous supply of the B vitamins is very important. Same with essential fatty acids, your EFAs. That would be the Healthy Start Pack. So make sure you're using protein, vitamin C, the Healthy Start Pack. Of course, if you're not absorbing out of the gut, that's going to be a problem, so you got to make sure that you're strengthening your gut with probiotics. You should also be using digestive enzymes with your meals because the enzymes will help you access the protein and the fats from your food. And if you want to throw a couple other things in there, there's some really important building minerals like zinc and copper. And they work together, by the way, both zinc and copper, around 50 milligrams of zinc a day, zinc picolinate, along with 2 milligrams or so of copper a day. You get, of course, some zinc and some copper in with your Healthy Start Pack. And then your primary building vitamins are vitamin A and vitamin D. Now, these require healthy fat absorptions. Your liver has to be working correctly, and you got to be making sure that you're making bile, and you're making digestive acids and digestive hydrochloric acid in the digestive tract. But vitamin A, 20,000 international units a day, and get some sunshine to get your vitamin D. You can also supplement with a little vitamin D, and of course you'll find vitamin D in fish and fish oil too, the ultimate EFAs. So I hope that's not too much information for you there, Mariah, but that's a lot of good strategies for building. And by the way, when you build connective tissue in the skin, you'll be building bone, and you'll be building your blood vessels as well. Don't forget the glucogel caps. I think I mentioned that, but don't forget those. The glucogel caps are very helpful. Thanks for your call. Appreciate it, Mariah.
Thank you so much.
Have a beautiful day. All right, take care. Have a good day. Okay, we'll take a break. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. Hang tight if you're on hold. We'll get to you when we come back. I'm Pharmacist Ben. I forgot to say to Mariah about topical strategies. Of course, vitamin C and retinoic acid are your two go-to anti-wrinkle active ingredients. If you're using a skincare, anti-aging skincare products that don't feature vitamin C in its fat-soluble form, not the cheapo ascorbic acid form, but the fat-soluble form of vitamin C, as well as the retinol form of vitamin A, you are missing the boat. These are the only two active ingredients that have been shown definitively in real people to actually not just prevent wrinkles and their fine lines, but to reverse them. So you ask, where can I get retinol and fat-soluble vitamin C? TruthTreatments.com. That's why I developed the Truth Skin Health products. I learned about vitamin C and vitamin A in the pharmacy. I was dealing with patients who had burns. I was dealing with patients who had really messed up skin, and I couldn't play around with silly games, with silly over-the-counter strategies, with herby-derby, superficial kinds of so-called active materials. I was dealing with sick people, and that's where I learned about the power of vitamin C and vitamin A. And that's also why I developed the Truth Skin Health products, TruthTreatments.com, TruthTreatments.com. Only vitamin C and vitamin A have been shown definitively to reverse wrinkles as well as prevent them in real human beings, in vivo, in real life. All right, 844-236-6010. Albert Einstein, 1946. A new type of thinking is essential if mankind is to survive and move towards higher levels. And that's what we're talking about on The Bright Side. A new way of thinking about the body and thinking about health. Liz in Cincinnati, good morning. Welcome to The Bright Side.
Hi, Ben. I've called in and talked to you before about epilepsy, and you recommended fasting and the ketogenic diet, which I've been working on in the past month. But I had a couple of questions about specifics with that.
Okay.
With fasting, what sort of time periods do you recommend fasting for, and how often? And then for the ketogenic diet, it seems like on every website I look at, they all have different numbers that they recommend in terms of how many grams of fat to eat per day or what ratio.
Yeah, there's no real way to know. Let me address both of those. Hey, Justin, if you're listening, can you grab the phone, please, Justin? All right, let me address these two. Let me address these two subjects. Okay, number one, fasting. How often do you do? I get this all the time. Okay, so it's a common question. Fasting is up to you. It's called intermittent fasting. You want to keep the body guessing. That's the idea. You don't want to fast in a regular way. You want to keep the body guessing. You don't want the body to know when food is coming. You follow me? So when the body doesn't know when food is coming, it has to upregulate its ability to procure food. If it knows when food is coming, it can predict. That doesn't do the same thing. You need to know. You need to have the body guessing. This philosophy of having the body guessing is used in workouts. There's a system called P90X that takes advantage of this idea of keeping the body and the musculature in surprise. The body works best when it doesn't know when its food is coming. So if you want to upregulate health and build muscle and exploit fasting for overall well-being, you want to do it intermittently. Once a week, twice a week, maybe twice a week 1 week, and then once a week the next week. Mix it up. You follow me, Liz? It doesn't really matter how often you do it as long as you're mixing things up. You know, does that make sense? You want to keep the body guessing as to when food is coming. The second thing about
the time period,
24 to 48 hours. You could do 3 days. You could do 40 days if you want, but 2 or 3 days, 1 day even. I do one personally. I do a fast maybe once a week or twice a week, and I do it every week. And then some days I won't do it. You just keep the body guessing. Don't worry about getting in a routine of fasting. The idea is to do it intermittently. Okay, is that all right, Liz? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Second thing about how do you do the ketogenic diet, how much fat do you do? First of all, and I said this a couple times last week, but I'll say it again, the ketogenic diet is not necessarily a high-fat diet. It's a high relative fat diet. So it's not an excuse to eat a lot of fat, but it's an excuse to get a lot of your calories from fat. And you shouldn't be eating a lot of calories. So you don't want to eat a lot of food. Caloric restriction is always the way to go when it comes to building muscle and getting healthy. But most of those calories should come from fat. Now, if you do the true ketogenic diet for seizures, it's 90% of your calories from fat. That's the medical ketogenic diet. All right? That's a lot of fat. You can go as low as 60%. I say around 60 to 70%. That's a good place to be. But you have to play around with it yourself. Does that answer your question, Liz?
Yes.
Okay, so low calories, but of those calories, most of them should come from fat, anywhere from 60 on the low end to 90 on the high end. Medically, they'll go with 90. I go 60 to 70, somewhere in there. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Good deal. And don't forget the nutrients that go with the ketogenic diet, like vitamin E, for example. The more fat you have, the more vitamin E you need. Thanks so much for your call, Liz. Appreciate it. Have a beautiful day. Let's go to Steve in Kansas City, Missouri. Good morning. Welcome to the Bright Side, Steve.
Hi, Ben.
Hey. What's up?
I was wondering if you could speak for a few minutes about birth control and how it affects the biochemistry for somebody who has sympathetic overdrive and some estrogen issues.
Awful stuff. Now, obviously it's convenient, birth control. So if you're using it for birth control, there's a convenience aspect to it that's hard to deny. However, from a hormonal and a physiologic aspect, it is awful. You can't. It's on the top 10 list of awful things to do to your body pharmacologically, particularly the estrogen, not even particularly the estrogen, both of them. The way birth control pills work, they're a combination of fake estrogen and fake progesterone. And if you read the package insert, which everybody should be doing when they're on a prescription drug, is read the package insert, you will be horrified by what you read. Fake estrogen in particular is associated with cancer. And we're going to talk about estrogen here later on this week because estrogen is a stress hormone, and it's a growth-inducing hormone. And you don't want to be playing around with the growth chemistry of the body because that's where cancer comes from. And estrogen and cancer, fake estrogen and cancer, and even regular estrogen and cancer are linked. Fake estrogen particularly. So you can't think, it's very difficult to come up with a more toxic way, a pharmacological way to approach the body than to take birth control pills, particularly because birth control, when they're used for birth control, are given to healthy women. Now, they use birth control pills for acne and for endometriosis and other things, but birth control pills, when they're dispensed for birth control, are usually given to people who are fertile and healthy. So you're taking a healthy person and you're poisoning their body so that they can have sex without making a baby. There's better ways to do it. As convenient as it is, in my humble opinion. You're playing with fire. If you are going to take birth control pills, it becomes extremely important that you get on a nutritional supplement program that features zinc and the B vitamins and probably magnesium and vitamin A and vitamin E. Really everything. But those in particular can help counteract some of the negative effects of estrogen, of fake estrogen and progesterone. Zinc, magnesium, vitamin A, vitamin E, and what else here? Copper probably would be helpful, and of course the B vitamins, particularly vitamin B6. Okay, Steve, does that help you?
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
Okay, good deal. Have a great day, man. Thanks for calling. All right, so let's go to Laura in Ohio. Welcome to the bright side, Laura. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Since November, my hair has thinned tremendously around the crown of my head and my receding hairline.
Okay. How old are you?
32.
Not good, Laura. A couple things.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
well,
And also to top with that, though, my scalp has been very dry and flaky. I cannot get rid of it for the life of me. Like, something's going on.
There's something going on, exactly. First of all, almost guaranteed you're hypothyroid. Have you noticed any weight changes, that you're gaining weight or anything like that over the past 5 years or 10 years or anything?
No, I'm very fit. Like, to look at me, I'm fit, yes.
Fit doesn't necessarily mean anything. If you didn't, if you weren't working out, would you be gaining weight around the middle or anything like that?
Not through my middle. It mainly goes to my hips and thighs.
Hips, okay, good. So you're keeping it under control by exercising, and you're young, and you could do that, but you're not going to be able to do it forever. So you're dealing with hypothyroidism, almost guaranteed. Now, it's very common, and at the age of 32, typically that means that you've been stressed. There's some kind of burden that's going on in your body, and it's been going on for a while. Type A personality, my dear?
Absolutely.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. When you got that type A kind of thing going on, what ends up happening is the adrenal glands do most of the heavy lifting. That's not where you want the heavy lifting to come from. So did you hear me talking about the sympathetic nervous system and sympathetic overdrive earlier? Have you been listening to that? Okay.
Yes.
That's what you're dealing with. When that happens over the course of over the long term, the thyroid will slow down. So you're dealing with hypothyroidism, which is following hyperadrenalism. All right? Mm-hmm. So what you got to do is you've got to relax the body. You've got to take most of the energy from your body that's being directed into the sympathetic nervous system and the adrenal glands into the relaxation nervous system. So first of all, you've got to relax the body. Everything we've been talking about for the last couple of days. Next, you want to get on a nutritional supplement program that features relaxing nutrients like magnesium, the B complex, lithium, all the ones we talked about earlier. Make sure you're eating more protein and more essential fats and less sugar. And by sugar, I'm talking about refined carbohydrates, cereals, and breads in addition to sweets. I'm out of time, Laura. I'd love if you call back because it's a great question. And I'll be glad to address it if you can call me back tomorrow, but we're just out of time. And I apologize for that. Thank you so much for your call. All right. I wish we had more time on this program, but we don't. An hour goes by all too fast, and it's time to go. So hope you guys have an awesome, wonderful, beautiful, spectacular day. Check out my website, truthtreatments.com, as well as pharmacistben.com and criticalhealthnews.com. And we will talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Wallach, veterinarian and naturopathic physician, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy with an important message. Take charge of your health. Do not continue to blindly follow the system that has failed us all. I appreciate GCN listeners because you're open-minded and intelligent. If our system is so great, why is it that the United States, the USA, ranks nearly 60th worldwide in longevity and number 1 in obesity? All the while we spend more money than all the other countries combined annually on unnecessary healthcare procedures and toxic drugs. It doesn't take much to get on track, not with the government or pharmaceutical companies, but rather you in control of your own health with a basic understanding of nutrition and supplementation. FDI Longevity has the finest quality health, sports, and energy supplements available. GCN listeners are invited to join our team of people who want to stay healthy well into old age. We are currently looking for specialists to represent FDI Longevity and save America. To buy products at wholesale prices or join our business team, go to gcnteam.com. That's gcnteam.com. Support GCN. Get healthy.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all.
Would you like to receive $250 to $1,000 cash per day? Go to richmoneyrich.com. No website, no selling, no explaining. Just take these simple 2 steps and go to richmoneyrich.com. You can be generating cash in the next 24 hours simply using this system. Good news is, it runs on 100% autopilot, and you don't need any experience to get started. It's easy. Get your share of easy riches and go to richmoneyrich.com. That's richmoneyrich.com. Go now. Brought to you by the Conservative Investor. Current returns not indicative of future results.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Are you sneezing, coughing, and aching? Do you have a sore throat, a fever, or the sniffles? There's no reason to be sick this cold and flu season with immune system support from Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver can give your body the help it needs to fight off harmful pathogens without hurting beneficial gut flora and without leaving behind resistant bacteria. Antibiotics can damage good microflora and often leave behind bacteria, which can cause problems later on. If you're sick of being sick, try Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver, the #1 choice of thousands for a safe and effective way to protect against the many diseases and illnesses that we are facing today. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, read our customer reviews, and see the life-changing results that people are having. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code PROTECTED for 20% off your entire order. And like us on Facebook. Supernatural Silver.
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's called the Transcend Mini CPAP, and right now you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-945-9289. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day at-home trial. 1-800-945-9289. That's 1-800-945-9289.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
This is a healthcare alert from the Pain Relief Hotline. If you, a family member, or a loved one suffers from knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain and have Medicare as your primary insurance, we've got great news. You don't have to suffer any longer. You can immediately qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you by calling our 24/7 Pain Relief Hotline at 866-389-0620. Delivery is free and all paperwork is handled for you. If you are on Medicare and have knee, back, shoulder, or ankle pain, don't wait. You can qualify to immediately receive a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost by calling our 24/7 Pain Hotline now at 866-389-0620. Our representatives are standing by 24/7 to take your call and rush you your pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you. Shipping is free and all paperwork is handled for you. Just call 866-389-0620. That's 866-389-0620. Again, 866-389-0620.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
My dad was 59 when he collapsed from a heart attack late last year. Just this past August was when we spread his ashes on the St. Croix River. I loved my dad, but boy was he stubborn. He hadn't been to the doctor in over 25 years. His excuse? He simply couldn't afford it. He wasn't a rich man by any means. At less than $107 per month, libertyoncall.org would have been the perfect alternative for my father. Don't wait. Go to libertyoncall.org right now for not just your sake, but for the sake of your loved ones. Again, that's libertyoncall.org.
A good stove is at the top of the list for any serious survivalist. That's why you have to see the full range at emberlit.com. Simple, elegant, but extraordinarily efficient. Available in titanium or stainless steel, the Emberlit line of stoves are ultralight, pack flat, and work great. Fueled only by sticks and debris. From emergency situations to long-term survival, Emberlit stoves are up to the task. Emberlit, the most convenient, easy-to-carry wood stoves on the planet. See them all at emberlit.com.
There's a man named Dr. Joel Wallach who is anything but your typical doctor, both a veterinarian and naturopathic physician. Doc asks, why does the United States spend more money on healthcare by far and still rank 50th in health and longevity worldwide? He believes that people should empower themselves with a basic understanding of nutrition, take charge of their health, and attain optimal health and longevity through nutrition, not by toxic prescription drugs that lead to side effects and more toxic prescription drugs. Doc Wallach's message is resonating with an increasing number of Americans who are waking up to all the big government, big pharma, and big insurance manipulation of our healthcare system. I'm George Norrie, and I like what Doc Wallach is saying and doing to enlighten people about healthcare. Visit brightsideben.com and listen to Doc Wallach's Deadly Recipes lecture. It makes a lot of sense, and I urge you to join the Brightside Ben team. Go to brightsideben.com. That's brightsideben.com.
This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. A General Steel building can save you as much as half the cost and time of similar conventional construction. And we're offering rebates of up to $20,000 to help you build today. Call General Steel for free information that could save you thousands. Call 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL.
Suffering from illness or disease? Frequently in pain? Overstressed? Always tired? The solution is to oxygenate your cells because disease cannot survive in an oxygen-rich environment. Introducing Vital Ion, the first mineralized edible oxygen in the world. Go to toolsforfreedom.com and get the Miracle of Oxygenation DVD free with any Vital Ion purchase. Call 800-770-8802. That's 800-770-8802. Let Vital Ion edible oxygen be your daily fountain of youth.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts and patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Purchase a ProPure system during the Crazy May sale and get a free ProMax shower filter or water filter pitcher. Remove up to 200 contaminants with the Pro 1G 2.0 truly cleanable, reusable filter. We don't stretch our claims, we just deliver performance. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Suffering from illness or disease? Frequently in pain? Overstressed? Always tired? The solution is to oxygenate your cells because disease cannot survive in an oxygen-rich environment. Introducing Vital Ion, the first mineralized edible oxygen in the world. Go to toolsforfreedom.com and get the Miracle of Oxygenation DVD free with any Vital Ion purchase. Call 800-770-8802. That's 800-770-8802. Let Vital Ion edible oxygen be your daily fountain of youth.
Think about this. Your community's aging water infrastructure systems are very likely to be contaminated with heavy metals like lead, disinfection chemicals like ammonia, chlorine and chloramines, and pharmaceuticals like statins, pain meds, and antidepressants. And no, water treatment plants are not equipped to filter these pharmaceutical toxins out. Protect your family's water supply with the trusted Big Berkey water filter. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show Big Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria, and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification, and our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pileski of the Pileski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.